tuned to Dystopia FM 97.3. This is Marcus Chen, and it's 11:23 on what started as a perfectly ordinary Thursday morning. The weather outside is pleasant, mid-60s, light breeze coming in from the west. Traffic is moving well on all major routes, no accidents to report. Just another day. Sophie just brought me my second coffee of the morning. She's shaking her head because I forgot to eat breakfast again. She's right, of course. I left the house at 6 a.m. without grabbing anything. My wife texted me 20 minutes ago asking if I remembered to take my blood pressure medication. I didn't. She knows me too well after 15 years of marriage. I'm looking at the news feed on my computer screen right now. Standard stuff. City Council meeting tonight about the new zoning ordinances. Local high school won the state championship in volleyball. Someone's dog went missing on the east side. Brown Labrador named Max. If you've seen him, there's a number to call. But there's something else here. A small item buried on page 3 of the newswire. NASA issued a statement about 30 minutes ago regarding an unidentified object detected by their deep space monitoring system. They're calling it a routine observation, nothing to be concerned about. The object was first spotted by the Mauna Kea Observatory in Hawaii around 3 a.m. our time. It's currently positioned somewhere beyond the orbit of Mars, moving in our general direction. The statement is carefully worded. Very carefully worded. They use phrases like conducting standard analysis, and no immediate cause for alarm, and keeping the public informed as data becomes available. Those are the kinds of phrases you use when you don't want people to panic, but you also don't want to lie. I've been doing this job for 22 years. I've read thousands of press releases, government statements, official communications. You develop a sense for when something is being downplayed. This feels downplayed. Sophie is pulling up more information now. She's found a tweet from an astronomer at MIT. The tweet says, "Whatever NASA detected is moving fast, really fast. Faster than anything natural should be moving. Someone should be asking more questions about this." The tweet was posted 11 minutes ago. It already has 50,000 likes and is climbing rapidly. I'm refreshing the NASA website now. Their official statement is still up, unchanged from what was posted at 10:47 this morning. NASA's Near-Earth Object Coordination Center has detected an object of unknown origin in deep space. Initial observations suggest an irregular trajectory. Assessment is ongoing. Updates will be provided as appropriate. That's it. That's the entire statement. 63 words to describe something that an MIT astronomer says is moving faster than anything natural should be moving. Sophie is on the phone with someone at the local university. She's trying to reach Dr. Helen Martinez in the astronomy department. Dr. Martinez has been a guest on this show before, usually talking about meteor showers or explaining why the moon looks orange sometimes. Sophie's being put on hold. The university receptionist doesn't know if Dr. Martinez is available. Let me get back to what we're supposed to be doing here. Traffic update. Lisa Hayes is in the traffic copter, and she's reporting that the morning rush is starting to thin out. If you're heading downtown, it's looking better than it did an hour ago. The construction around Metro Plaza is still causing delays, but nothing catastrophic. Use the alternate routes we talked about earlier if you can. Weather forecast for today calls for clear skies and temperatures in the low 70s. It's going to be a beautiful afternoon. Perfect day to be outside. The weekend is looking good too, so if you've got outdoor plans, you should be fine. I'm checking social media again. The MIT astronomer's tweet now has 200,000 likes. People are asking questions in the replies. Most of them are asking the same thing. How fast is it moving? The astronomer hasn't responded yet. There's a hashtag starting to trend. Hashtag unknown object. It's mostly people sharing the NASA statement and asking if anyone knows more. A few people are making jokes about it being aliens. Most are just confused about why there isn't more information available. Sophie is off the phone. Dr. Martinez isn't in her office. The department secretary said she's in a meeting and can't be disturbed. That's unusual. Dr. Martinez is usually very accessible, especially for media inquiries. Sophie asked when she might be available, and the secretary said she didn't know. Just that Dr. Martinez is in a meeting and left instructions not to be interrupted. It's 11:41 now. I should mention that we're getting calls and messages from listeners asking about this object. I want to be clear. We don't have any more information than what Neha has released. We're monitoring the situation and will share updates as we get them. If you're hearing this broadcast and you have credible information, you can reach us through the usual channels. We're here. Let me read you the local news. The school board met last night and approved the budget for next year. Property taxes are going up by 2.3% to cover increased costs for teacher salaries and building maintenance. The vote was 6-3. Public comment was heated, with about 40 residents speaking for and against the increase. The farmers market downtown is opening for the season this Saturday. Vendors will be set up from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the usual location at City Park. Fresh produce, baked goods, local honey, all the stuff you'd expect. I go every year. My wife loves the sourdough bread from that one vendor, the older gentleman who never remembers to bring enough change. There's a community meeting tonight at 7 p.m. about the proposed rezoning on the west side. The developers want to build a mixed-use complex with apartments and retail space. Some residents are concerned about traffic and parking. If you live in that area and you care about this, you should probably show up. I'm looking at the news feeds again. More astronomers are weighing in on social media. A professor from Caltech posted, "The trajectory is anomalous. Natural objects don't move like this. We need more data before jumping to conclusions, but this is highly unusual." Another from the European Space Agency. "We're tracking the object in coordination with NASA. The international astronomy community is engaged. More information will be shared when available." These statements are interesting because of what they're not saying. Nobody is saying it's a comet. Nobody is saying it's an asteroid. Nobody is offering any natural explanation at all. They're just saying they're tracking it and they need more data. Sophie just got a text from her husband. He's asking if she knows anything about this object thing he's seeing on Twitter. She's texting him back that we're trying to find out more. Her husband works in IT at a tech company downtown. He's usually not someone who pays attention to space news, so the fact that he's asking means this is spreading beyond the usual circles. It's 11:53. Lisa is reporting that there's a minor accident on the westbound interstate near exit 34. 2 vehicles involved, no injuries reported, but the right lane is blocked. Emergency services are on scene. Give yourself an extra 15 minutes if you're heading that direction. I should take a short break. We've got some commercials queued up, and then we'll be right back. I'm going to use these few minutes to try to find someone who can actually explain what's happening. Stay with us on Dystopia FM 97.3. We're back. It's 12:08, and I've spent the last few minutes on the phone trying to reach anyone at NASA who will talk to me. I got transferred 3 times and ended up at a public affairs office, where someone told me they have no additional comment beyond the official statement. I asked if there would be a press conference, and they said they didn't know. I asked when more information might be available, and they said they didn't know. It was a very unhelpful conversation. Sophie managed to get through to someone at the National Science Foundation. She's on hold right now, waiting to speak with someone in their astronomy division. She's been on hold for 6 minutes. The hold music is Vivaldi. She hates Vivaldi. I'm reading through the messages coming in from listeners. Someone named Robert from the North Side wants to know if this is the same thing as the mysterious radio signals that were detected last year. It's not, Robert. Those were fast radio bursts from deep space, very different phenomenon. This is an actual physical object that appears to be moving through our solar system. Jennifer from downtown is asking if we should be worried. I don't know how to answer that, Jennifer. I genuinely don't know. NASA says there's no immediate cause for alarm. But they're also not telling us what it is, or why it's moving the way it's moving. So I'd say stay informed and use your judgment. The social media activity is increasing. Hashtag unknown object is now the #3 trending topic nationally. News outlets are starting to pick it up. I'm seeing headlines on major news websites. NASA detects mysterious object in deep space, an unidentified object approaching solar system, and astronomers baffled by strange object beyond Mars. The coverage is still pretty minimal though. These are small stories buried on the websites. Nobody is treating this as a major event yet. It's more like curious anomaly that people are interested in, but not particularly concerned about. Sophie got through to the NSF. She's talking to someone now. I can hear her side of the conversation. She's asking about the object's trajectory. She's asking about its speed. She's asking if there's any explanation for the anomalous movement. The person she's talking to is being very careful with their words. I can tell from Sophie's facial expressions that she's not getting satisfying answers. It's 12:19. Let me give you the weather forecast again in case you missed it earlier. Clear skies, temperatures in the low 70s, light winds from the west. Perfect day. Tonight will be cool, dropping into the low 50s. Tomorrow looks similar, maybe a few degrees warmer. Weekend forecast is excellent. Saturday will be sunny with highs in the mid-70s. Sunday might see some clouds roll in, but no rain expected. Good weather for the farmer's market I mentioned earlier. Sophie is off the phone. She's shaking her head. The NSF contact confirmed they're tracking the object in coordination with NASA and international partners. They confirmed the trajectory is unusual. They would not speculate on what the object might be. They said more data is being collected and analyzed. They expect to have more information later today, but they couldn't say when, so we're still exactly where we were an hour ago. We know there's an object. We know it's moving fast. We know the trajectory is weird. We don't know what it is or where it came from or what it means. I'm checking the NASA website again. Still no updates. Their statement from 1047 is still the most recent communication. The International Astronomical Union has issued a brief statement. I'm reading it now. The IAU is aware of the object detected by NASA and partner observatories. We are coordinating observations from facilities worldwide. The astronomical community is treating this as a priority research target. Public updates will be provided as analysis proceeds. That's slightly more reassuring in that it confirms this is being taken seriously by the global astronomy community. But it's also concerning because the IAU doesn't usually issue statements about routine observations. The fact that they felt the need to say something suggests this is not routine. It's 12:31. Traffic is light right now. If you need to run errands or make appointments, this is a good window. The lunch rush hasn't started yet. Roads are clear, except for the ongoing construction zones, and that accident on the westbound interstate that should be cleared soon. I'm going through more listener messages. David from the suburbs asks if this could be a satellite or space debris. It's possible, David, but unlikely. Satellites and debris don't usually operate beyond Mars. This object was detected in deep space, well outside the normal orbital range of human-made objects. But I'm not an expert. I'm just reading what the experts are saying, and they're being very vague. Maria from the east side wants to know if the military knows anything. I have no idea, Maria. I would assume that if there's something approaching Earth that the military doesn't understand, they'd be involved in monitoring it. But I don't have any military contacts, and I doubt they'd tell me anything even if I did. Sophie is pulling up more social media posts. A physics professor from Stanford has posted a thread explaining orbital mechanics and why this object's behavior is unusual. I'm going to summarize it because it's fairly technical. Essentially, objects in space move according to predictable patterns based on gravity and momentum. Comets, asteroids, planets, everything follows these patterns. The patterns are so reliable that we can calculate orbit centuries in advance. This object is not following those patterns. Its trajectory suggests it's either being propelled by something, or it's not following the normal rules of orbital mechanics. The professor is careful to say this doesn't necessarily mean anything dramatic. There could be natural explanations we haven't thought of yet. But based on current observations, the movement is anomalous. That thread is being shared rapidly. It's been retweeted 40,000 times in the last 20 minutes. I'm seeing more news coverage now. CNN has a story on their homepage. BBC is covering it. Al Jazeera has a brief mention. The coverage is still pretty restrained, mostly just reporting what's known and noting that astronomers are puzzled. It's 12:47. Sophie just got a message from a friend who works at the European Southern Observatory in Chile. The friend says they've been observing the object since yesterday. They have high-resolution images, but they haven't been cleared to release them publicly yet. The friend says the images are strange, but won't elaborate. That's interesting. If they've been observing since yesterday, that means this was known before NASA made their public statement this morning. Which means there was probably some internal discussion about whether and when to inform the public. I'm not trying to suggest a conspiracy here. I'm just noting that there was clearly some period of time when this was known to scientists, but not to the general public. That's probably normal for this kind of thing. You want to gather data and make sure you understand what you're seeing before you tell people about it. But it does make me wonder what they saw in those early observations that prompted them to eventually release a public statement. Traffic update from Lisa. The accident on the westbound interstate has been cleared. All lanes are open again. Downtown is starting to see the lunch crowd traffic picking up. Nothing major, just the usual midday activity. I'm going to read some local news to maintain some normalcy here. The city has announced that street repairs will begin next week on several residential roads in the Southern District. Crews will be working between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Affected residents should have received notice in the mail. There will be some temporary road closures and parking restrictions. The public library is hosting a book sale this weekend. Proceeds go to the children's reading program. If you like books and you want to support a good cause, stop by. I usually go and end up buying way more books than I have shelf space for. There's a free concert in City Park on Friday evening. Local band playing classic rock covers. Bring a blanket and some snacks. It's always a good time. Sophie is monitoring multiple news sources simultaneously now. She's got 4 different websites open plus Twitter, and a couple of specialized astronomy forums. She's looking for any new information, any updates, any explanation. Nothing yet. Just more people asking questions and sharing the same limited information we all have. It's 1:02. I should mention that if you're just joining us, there's a situation developing that we're following. NASA detected an unidentified object in deep space early this morning. The object is beyond Mars, moving in a trajectory that astronomers describe as unusual or anomalous. We don't know what it is yet. Official sources are saying there's no immediate cause for alarm, but they're also not providing much detail. We're staying on top of this and will share information as it becomes available. In the meantime, we're continuing with regular programming. If you're tuning in from different places right now, maybe you're at work or in your car or at home, we're here with you. Stay with us on this frequency. Let me check the weather radar. Everything looks clear. No storms in the area. The forecast I gave you earlier still holds. Beautiful day, beautiful evening ahead. Sophie just showed me something. There's a video circulating on social media. Someone claims to have captured footage of the object using a high-powered telescope. The video is grainy and hard to make out, but there's definitely something there. A bright spot moving against the background of stars. The video has only been up for about 20 minutes, and it already has over 1 million views. People in the comments are debating whether it's real or fake. Some are saying it's obviously CGI. Others are saying it looks legitimate. I can't verify the authenticity of the video. For all I know, it's completely fabricated. But it's getting a lot of attention, and it's adding to the general sense of unease people are feeling. A message just came in from a listener who's an amateur astronomer. He says he's been trying to spot the object with his own telescope, but he doesn't have the coordinates. He's asking if we know where to look. I don't have that information. NASA hasn't released the object's precise location, probably because they don't want thousands of amateur astronomers pointing their equipment at the same spot and clogging up professional observations. Or maybe there's another reason. I'm speculating now. It's 1:16. Traffic is moderate across all major routes. No new incidents to report. Construction zones are active. Please observe the reduced speed limits and be careful around the work crews. I'm reading more statements from various space agencies. The Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency has confirmed they're monitoring the object. The Russian space agency Roscosmos has issued a brief statement acknowledging awareness of the situation. The Indian Space Research Organization is coordinating observations with international partners. This is clearly a global effort. Every major space agency is involved. That suggests this is being treated as significant, even if the public statements are all very measured and calm. Sophie just got off the phone with someone at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory. She was trying to see if they had any insights. The person she spoke with confirmed they're collecting data, but said they're not authorized to discuss their findings. Everything has to go through official channels. I'm starting to detect a pattern here. Everyone we talk to confirms they're involved and they're observing, but nobody will say anything substantive. It's like there's a coordinated information blackout happening, or at least a coordinated decision to limit what gets released publicly. Again, that might be totally normal procedure. I don't know how these things usually work, but it feels like we're being managed. Like someone decided what the public should know and what they shouldn't, and everyone is sticking to that script. It's 1:29. I'm going to take another quick break. We've got some station identification to do and a few announcements. We'll be right back on Dystopia FM, back at 1:34. I've been using the breaks to scroll through social media and read what people are saying. The general mood is shifting from curiosity to concern. Not panic, not yet. But there's a definite sense that something is being withheld from the public. People are asking why NASA isn't being more transparent. They're asking why there hasn't been a press conference. They're asking why all the official statements are so vague. Some people are making conspiracy theories. I'm seeing posts about government cover-ups and secret knowledge. I don't want to amplify that kind of speculation, but I understand where it's coming from. When authorities are evasive, people fill the gaps with their own explanations. A congresswoman from California has tweeted demanding answers from NASA. She's saying the American people have a right to know what's happening, and that she's calling for immediate congressional oversight. That's the first political response I've seen. Once politicians start getting involved, this becomes a different kind of story. Sophie found something interesting. A research paper from 3 years ago about detecting interstellar objects. The paper discusses how to identify objects that originate from outside our solar system based on their trajectory and velocity. Apparently there are specific markers that indicate an object didn't form here and is just passing through. The paper is dense with mathematics that I don't understand, but the key point is that interstellar objects are extremely rare. We've only confirmed a couple in all of human history, and they behave in very specific ways. Sophie thinks this object might be interstellar based on what little we know about its trajectory. If that's true, it would be a huge deal for astronomy. An interstellar object close enough to study in detail would provide unprecedented scientific opportunities. But it would also be weird that NASA and other agencies aren't saying that explicitly. If they knew it was interstellar, you'd think they'd announce it. That's the kind of thing that would be exciting to share with the public. Unless there's something about this particular interstellar object that they don't want to share yet. It's 1:48. Lisa is reporting that downtown traffic is getting heavy now. Lunch hour is in full swing. Parking is going to be challenging if you're heading into the business district. Your best bet is to use the parking structures on 5th and 7th. I'm checking news sites again. The coverage is expanding. More outlets are picking up the story. I'm seeing it on the front page of several major news websites now, though still not the lead story. It's competing with political news and international events. The headlines are getting slightly more dramatic. Mystery deepens around unidentified space object, and scientists unable to explain strange object headed toward solar system. That second headline is interesting because it says headed toward rather than just approaching. That implies direction and intention, even though we don't actually know if it's heading toward us specifically, or just moving through the general area. Word choice matters in situations like this. The way information is framed shapes how people respond to it. Sophie just showed me a tweet from a science journalist who covers space news. The journalist says their sources at NASA are spooked by what they're seeing but won't go on record. The journalist is asking for anyone with knowledge to reach out. If professional science journalists with established sources are having trouble getting information, that tells you something about how tightly this is being controlled. A message came in from a listener who works at a news station in another city. They're asking if we have any additional information beyond what's been publicly released. I'm telling them no, we're in the same boat as everyone else. We're trying to find out more, but hitting the same walls. It's 2:03. I should do another round of local updates. The community theater is holding auditions this weekend for their summer production. They're doing a classic musical. If you're interested in participating, either on stage or behind the scenes, show up Saturday morning at 10 a.m. The animal shelter is having an adoption event on Sunday. Reduced fees for all animals. They're overcrowded right now and really need people to come adopt. If you've been thinking about getting a pet, this would be a great time. City Council has announced that water rates will be increasing by 4% starting next month. The increase is needed to fund infrastructure repairs and upgrades. Notices will be included with your next bill. These normal civic announcements feel strange given what else is happening, but life continues. Bills still need to be paid. Plays still need actors. Animals still need homes. Sophie is monitoring the NASA website for updates. She's set up an alert that will notify her if anything changes. So far, nothing. The statement from this morning is still the only official communication. I'm seeing reports that amateur astronomers are organizing observation campaigns. People with telescopes are coordinating online to try to gather their own data about the object. There's a certain DIY spirit to it that I appreciate. If the authorities won't tell us what's happening, we'll figure it out ourselves. Of course, amateur observations come with significant limitations. Professional observatories have much more powerful equipment and trained staff to interpret data. But sometimes there's value in having many eyes on a problem, even if those eyes aren't expert. It's 2:19. Traffic is starting to lighten up as the lunch hour ends. Downtown will probably stay moderately busy for another hour or so, and then it'll thin out again until the evening rush starts. Construction crews are working on the 5th Street Bridge today. I mentioned this earlier, but it's worth repeating. One lane closed. Expect delays if you're crossing the river. They're supposed to wrap up by 5 p.m., but construction schedules are more like suggestions than commitments. Sophie just got a text from a former colleague who now works at a major network news station. The colleague says their newsroom is going crazy trying to get someone from NASA to agree to an interview. NASA is declining all interview requests. They're only directing media to the written statement. That's unusual. In my experience, agencies like NASA are generally happy to explain their work to the media. They understand the value of public communication. The fact that they're refusing interviews suggests they either don't have answers to give, or they have answers they don't want to give. A message from a listener who's a physicist. He's saying that based on the limited information available, there are only a few possible explanations for the object's behavior. Either it's under some form of propulsion, or it's responding to gravitational forces we don't understand, or our observations are somehow flawed. He goes on to say that the first option implies artificial origin. The second option would require revising our understanding of physics. The third option is the most likely, but also the least interesting. I'm not qualified to evaluate his analysis, but it's an interesting framework for thinking about this. It's 2:34. I'm going to read more listener messages. We're getting a lot of them now. People want to talk about this. They want to share their thoughts and concerns. Robert from the West Side says he works in aviation, and he's wondering if there are any flight restrictions being put in place. That's a good question, Robert. I haven't heard anything about flight restrictions. As far as I know, commercial aviation is operating normally. If the object posed any immediate threat, I'd expect we'd see airspace closures, but I haven't seen any indication of that. Jennifer from downtown says her kids are asking questions about the object, and she doesn't know what to tell them. That's understandable, Jennifer. I'd say tell them what we know, which is that scientists detected something unusual, and they're working to understand what it is. Reassure them that smart people are paying attention, and there's no reason to be scared right now. Although honestly, I'm not sure how much I believe my own reassurance. I'm not scared exactly, but I'm definitely uneasy. David from the North Side sent a long message about historical UFO sightings and government secrecy. I appreciate the message, David, but I'm going to stay focused on what we can actually verify right now. Speculation about UFOs and government conspiracies isn't helpful at this point. It's 2:49. Sophie is showing me something on her phone. The European Space Agency has updated their statement. The new version says they've been conducting intensive observations, and the object remains under close monitoring. They're now saying that preliminary analysis suggests the object's composition is unusual, but they need more data to draw conclusions. That's the first hint of actual detail we've gotten from any official source. The composition is unusual. What does that mean? Is it made of something we don't normally see in space? Is its structure weird? They don't say. But it's something. It's more than we had an hour ago. News outlets are jumping on that detail. I'm seeing new headlines. Space object has unusual composition. Scientists say, and European Space Agency. Mystery object. Different from normal space debris. The ESA's willingness to share even this small detail makes NASA's silence more conspicuous. Why is the ESA talking and NASA isn't? Sophie suggests it might be a jurisdictional thing. Maybe NASA has internal protocols that require more review before information can be released. Or maybe there's coordination happening behind the scenes, and the ESA's update was cleared while NASA's wasn't. Or maybe they're seeing different things. Different agencies have different equipment and different vantage points. It's possible the ESA's observations revealed something about composition that NASA hasn't confirmed yet. It's 3:06. Lisa is reporting that traffic is light right now. If you're planning to leave work early or run errands, this is a good window before the evening rush starts. The weather remains beautiful. Clear skies, temperature has climbed to 71 degrees. Light winds, just a gorgeous day outside. I'm looking at social media again. The conversation has evolved. Earlier this morning it was mostly curiosity and jokes. Now it's more serious. People are discussing contingencies. What if it hits Earth? What if it's hostile? What should we do to prepare? Most of these discussions are premature. We have no reason to think the object will hit Earth, or that it poses any danger. But fear spreads faster than information, especially when information is scarce. I'm seeing some people talking about stocking up on supplies. Others are discussing evacuation plans. A few are making jokes about zombie apocalypses and alien invasions, but the jokes feel nervous. Like humor is a defense mechanism against anxiety. Sophie found a press release that just went out from the White House. A spokesperson says the president has been briefed on the situation and is monitoring developments. The administration has full confidence in NASA and the scientific community to assess and respond to the object appropriately. That's both reassuring and concerning. Reassuring because it suggests this is being taken seriously at the highest levels. Concerning because it confirms this is significant enough to brief the president. It's 3:22. A message just came in from someone claiming to work at NASA. The message says, I should stop speculating and wait for official information. It says there are good reasons why certain details can't be shared yet, and that creating public anxiety is irresponsible. I don't know if this message is actually from a NASA employee or just someone pretending to be one. But either way, I want to respond to it. I'm not trying to create anxiety. I'm trying to provide information and context. When official sources are silent or vague, people turn to alternative sources that might be less reliable. By discussing what we know and what we don't know in a measured way, I think I'm actually helping to prevent the spread of wild speculation. If NASA wants to reduce public anxiety, they should be more transparent. They should hold a press conference and answer questions. They should treat the public like adults who can handle uncertainty. That's my opinion anyway. Sophie is pulling up more scientific commentary. A professor from Caltech has written a blog post explaining what kinds of observations astronomers can make from Earth-based telescopes versus what would require sending a probe closer to the object. Apparently, we can determine quite a bit from here. Size, shape, velocity, trajectory, surface composition to some extent. But detailed analysis of internal structure or confirmation of certain hypotheses would require closer observation. The professor notes that sending a probe would take months or years depending on the object's location and trajectory. So if we want more detailed information quickly, we're limited to what we can observe from Earth. That's a frustrating limitation, but it's the reality of working in space. It's 3:38. I should mention for anyone just tuning in, we're following a developing story about an unidentified object detected in deep space. The object is beyond Mars, moving in an unusual trajectory. Various space agencies are monitoring it. We don't have a lot of details yet, but we're staying on top of it. Regular programming continues. Traffic is light. Weather is beautiful. Local news is happening. And somewhere beyond Mars, something is moving through space in a way that has astronomers puzzled. If you're listening to this from wherever you are, at home or in your car or at work, you're not alone. We're all trying to understand this together. Stay with Dystopia FM. Sophie just got an email from Dr. Martinez at the university. She's finally responding. The email says she apologizes for being unavailable earlier. She was in a conference with colleagues discussing the object. She's willing to come on the show tomorrow to discuss what's known, but she can't do it today because she's still analyzing data. Tomorrow feels like a long time away. Things are moving fast. By tomorrow we might have completely different information. But I appreciate that she's willing to talk at all. I'm confirming with Sophie to schedule Dr. Martinez for tomorrow morning's show. We'll get her expert perspective on what this object might be and what its implications are. It's 3:53. A listener named Maria sent a message asking if ham radio operators are picking up anything unusual. I don't have any information about that. Maria, if there are ham radio operators listening who have noticed anything strange, feel free to reach out. Actually, that raises an interesting question. If this object is artificial, if it's some kind of spacecraft or probe, would it be transmitting signals? And if it were, would we be able to detect them? I'm sure there are people much smarter than me asking these questions. Radio astronomers specifically look for signals from space. The SETI Institute has been searching for extraterrestrial signals for decades. If there's something to hear, someone is probably listening for it. But they're not sharing anything publicly if they've heard something. Which probably means they haven't, or it means they have and they're not saying. I don't know which is more likely. Sophie is showing me more news coverage. International media is really picking this up now. Headlines in multiple languages, live broadcasts from observatories around the world. Experts being interviewed and mostly saying variations of "we don't know yet." The global nature of the attention is somewhat unprecedented. Usually space news stays pretty niche. This is breaking through into mainstream consciousness in a way that doesn't normally happen. That might be because of the mystery. Humans are drawn to mysteries. We want answers. When something doesn't fit our understanding of how the world works, we become intensely focused on it until we can explain it. It's 4:08. Traffic is starting to pick up again as people begin their evening commute. Downtown is getting busy. The major routes out of the city center are showing increased volume. Nothing unusual for this time of day. Lisa is recommending the southern route if you're heading toward the suburbs. The northern route has some slow spots due to construction, but it's still moving. I'm checking the NASA website again. Still nothing new. Their morning statement remains the only official word from them. But I'm seeing reports that NASA has scheduled a press conference for 5 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 2 p.m. our time. So in about an hour and 50 minutes, we should finally get some official answers. Sophie is confirming this through multiple sources. Yes, NASA has announced a press conference. They're calling it a briefing on the unidentified object detected in deep space. That's the exact wording. This is what everyone has been waiting for. Real information from people who actually know what's happening. I'm feeling a mix of relief and apprehension. Relief because we'll finally get some clarity. Apprehension because I'm not sure I'm ready for whatever they're going to tell us. Messages are coming in fast now. Listeners are excited about the press conference. They're making plans to watch it. Some are asking if we'll be covering it live on the radio. Absolutely we will. We'll either broadcast the audio or I'll provide live commentary. Probably both. It's 4:24. Sophie is setting up to stream the NASA feed when it starts. We'll be able to listen in real time and share it with you. In the meantime, let me catch up on local news again. The city has announced that the summer concert series in City Park will begin in 2 weeks. Free concerts every Friday evening throughout July and August. Different bands each week, mix of genres. It's always well attended. Bring a blanket or a chair and enjoy live music under the stars. The community college is offering free computer literacy classes for seniors starting next month. If you or someone you know could benefit from learning basic computer skills, registration is open now. There's a town hall meeting next Tuesday about the proposed bike lane expansion. The plan would add protected bike lanes on several major streets. Supporters say it would make cycling safer and reduce car traffic. Opponents are concerned about losing parking spaces. Come share your opinion if you care about this issue. Normal civic life continues while we wait for news about something potentially extraordinary. It's 4:39. Sophie showed me something concerning. There are reports on social media of people leaving work early or calling in sick. Some schools are dismissing students early. Store shelves in some areas are being cleared out as people stock up on supplies. This is starting to feel like the beginning of a panic, even though we don't have any reason to panic yet. The absence of information is creating a vacuum that fear is filling. I want to be very clear. As of right now, there is no reason to panic. No one has said this object poses a danger. No one has suggested we need to prepare for anything. The rational thing to do is wait for the NASA press conference and get actual facts before making decisions based on fear. But I understand why people are nervous. I'm nervous too. The uncertainty is hard to sit with. A message from a listener who's a counselor. She's seeing clients canceling appointments because they want to go home and be with family. She's asking if I think that's an overreaction. I don't know how to answer that. Maybe it is an overreaction. Maybe it's a prudent response to uncertainty. People cope with anxiety in different ways. If being with family makes someone feel safer, even if there's no actual danger, maybe that's okay. It's 4:52. Traffic is heavy now across all major routes. The evening rush is in full effect. If you're still at work, you might want to wait another hour before heading home to avoid the worst of it. Lisa is reporting that some roads are more congested than usual. She thinks people might be leaving work early because of the news about the object. So we're seeing above average traffic for this time of day. I'm watching the clock tick toward 5 p.m. our time when the NASA press conference begins. Sophie has the stream ready to go. We're going to bring it to you live. While we wait, let me read a few more messages. Carlos from the east side wants to know if the government has bunkers for situations like this. I don't know, Carlos. There are definitely secure facilities for government continuity in various emergencies, but I don't know if there's a specific protocol for unidentified space objects. Amanda from downtown is asking what we should do if the press conference reveals something dangerous. Again, I don't have a prepared answer for that, Amanda. I suppose we'd follow whatever guidance officials provide. Stay informed, stay calm, help each other. It's 4:59. The press conference should be starting any moment now. Sophie has the NASA feed up and ready. We're going to pause our regular programming and bring this to you as it happens. Here we go. I'm seeing the NASA logo on the screen. There's a podium with the NASA seal. Someone is walking up to the microphone now. It's Dr. Thomas Bradford, the administrator of NASA. He's joined by several other people I don't recognize. Probably scientists and officials. Dr. Bradford is clearing his throat, adjusting the microphone. The room looks full of reporters. Cameras flashing. This is a big deal. He's starting to speak now. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. As you're aware, earlier today, NASA released a statement regarding the detection of an unidentified object in deep space. I'm here to provide additional information based on observations conducted over the past 24 hours. The object was first detected by our Near-Earth Object Coordination Center at approximately 3 a.m. Eastern Time yesterday. Since then, we've been conducting continuous observations using multiple telescopes and instruments. We've also been coordinating with international partners, including the European Space Agency, the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency, and others. What we can confirm at this time is the following. The object is located beyond the orbit of Mars, approximately 180 million kilometers from Earth. It is traveling at a velocity significantly higher than typical solar system objects. Its trajectory does not match any known celestial body or human-made spacecraft. Analysis of reflected light suggests the object's composition includes materials that are not commonly found in natural asteroids or comets. The specific details of this composition are still being analyzed. The object's shape appears to be irregular, but with some geometric properties that are unusual for natural formations. Again, we're still working to understand what this means. I want to emphasize that at this time, there is no indication the object poses any threat to Earth. Its current trajectory would not bring it into Earth's orbit. We are monitoring its path closely and will provide updates if that assessment changes. I'll now take questions. The room erupts with reporters shouting questions. Dr. Bradford is pointing to someone. Dr. Bradford, are you saying this is an artificial object? I'm saying we don't know what it is. The data we have is unusual and doesn't fit neatly into any category we're familiar with. We need more time to analyze and understand what we're observing. Another reporter. You mentioned geometric properties. Can you elaborate? The object's shape has some characteristics that appear structured or organized in a way that differs from random natural formations. But I want to be careful not to over-interpret limited data. We're looking at this from a great distance with inherent limitations. Another question. Is there any possibility this is extraterrestrial in origin? A pause. Dr. Bradford seems to be choosing his words carefully. We are considering all possibilities. The object's characteristics are unlike anything we've encountered before. Until we can rule out natural explanations, we're keeping an open mind about its origin. That's not a denial. He didn't say it's not extraterrestrial. He said they're keeping an open mind. The room is buzzing. More questions being shouted. Dr. Bradford, what is NASA's plan for further study of this object? We're devoting significant resources to observation and analysis. We're working with international partners to coordinate data collection. We're also exploring options for closer observation, though that would require time to arrange. Are you considering sending a probe to investigate? All options are on the table. A probe mission would take considerable planning and time to execute. We're focused first on gathering as much data as possible from Earth-based observations. Dr. Bradford, should the public be concerned? The public should be informed, and that's why we're having this conference. Based on current data, there is no immediate threat. We will continue to monitor closely and provide updates. I understand this is an unusual situation, and it's natural to have questions. We're working as quickly as possible to get answers. Another question. Have you detected any signals or communications from the object? We've been scanning for electromagnetic emissions. So far, we haven't detected anything that would indicate active transmission. But our monitoring continues. More questions, but Dr. Bradford is saying that's all the time they have for now. He's promising another update tomorrow. He's saying they'll release more technical data as it becomes available. He's thanking everyone and walking away from the podium. The feed cuts back to the NASA logo. Sophie and I are sitting here in silence. I don't even know what that was. They basically confirmed that this thing is weird. Really weird. Possibly artificial. Possibly extraterrestrial. But they're being careful not to say anything definitive. It's 5:17 now. I need to process what we just heard and figure out how to talk about it with you. Okay, let me try to summarize. NASA has confirmed there's an object out there. It's moving fast. It's made of unusual materials. It has geometric properties that are not typical of natural objects. They don't know what it is. They're not saying it's aliens, but they're not saying it's not aliens. And it's 180 million kilometers away, which sounds far, but in space terms, that's actually not that far. For reference, Mars is about 225 million kilometers away at its farthest point from Earth. So this thing is closer than Mars sometimes is. The trajectory doesn't put it on a collision course with Earth, which is good. But they're monitoring closely in case that changes. Sophie is reading the immediate reaction online. Social media is exploding. The press conference is being analyzed word by word. People are debating what Dr. Bradford meant by certain phrases. News outlets are running with dramatic headlines. NASA cannot explain mysterious space object, and officials hint at possible extraterrestrial origin and unidentified. Object has geometric features unlike natural formations. Some outlets are being more restrained. NASA studying unusual object in deep space, and space agency says object poses no immediate threat. The variation in coverage reflects the ambiguity of what we were just told. There's enough there to justify concern, but not enough to confirm anything specific. It's 5:29. Traffic is still heavy. People are definitely leaving work early. Lisa is reporting that the outbound routes from downtown are more congested than she's ever seen for this time of day. Some stores are seeing runs on supplies. Sophie is getting messages from friends who stopped at grocery stores and found long lines and picked over shelves. Water, canned goods, batteries, that sort of thing. This is the panic response I was worried about. Even though NASA said there's no immediate threat, people are preparing like something bad is coming. I understand the impulse. When faced with uncertainty, doing something feels better than doing nothing. Buying supplies gives people a sense of control. But logically, if this object is 180 million kilometers away and not on a collision course, there's no reason to stock up on bottled water. It's not going to help. It's 5:44. I'm taking messages from listeners who want to talk about the press conference. Michael from the suburbs says the fact that NASA even held a press conference means this is serious. They wouldn't convene the media for something minor. He thinks they know more than they're saying. Patricia from downtown is scared. She has kids and she doesn't know how to explain this to them. She's asking if schools will be closed tomorrow. I haven't heard anything about schools closing, Patricia. As far as I know, everything is operating normally tomorrow. But keep an eye on local announcements in case that changes. Thomas from the west side wants to know if we should be leaving the city. I don't think so, Thomas. NASA said there's no immediate threat. Unless you hear official evacuation orders, I'd say stay put and stay informed. It's 6:02. The evening news broadcasts are leading with this story. Every network, every channel. The NASA press conference is being replayed and analyzed. Experts are being brought on to speculate about what the object might be. I'm watching a clip from one of the networks. They have an astrophysicist on who's saying that if the object is artificial, it would be the most significant discovery in human history. The possibility that we're not alone in the universe, that another intelligence exists or existed. It would fundamentally change everything. But he's also cautioning against jumping to conclusions. Unusual doesn't mean artificial. We need more data. Another network has someone discussing the possibility that it's human technology. Could it be a secret spacecraft from another country? An experimental probe that was never disclosed? That seems unlikely given that it's coming from deep space and moving at extremely high velocity. But I suppose it's technically possible. Sophie found something interesting. A Pentagon spokesperson was asked about the object. They said they're aware of it and monitoring in coordination with NASA. They declined to comment on whether it poses any security concerns. The military is watching this. That's worth noting. It's 6:19. The sun is setting. It's going to be dark soon. Somehow that feels significant, even though it shouldn't. The object is no more dangerous at night than during the day. But there's something about darkness that amplifies anxiety. When you can't see what's around you, imagination fills the gaps. Traffic is finally starting to thin out. The peak rush is over. Roads should be clear within the next hour. I'm reading more messages. Some people are planning to watch the sky tonight. They want to see if they can spot the object with binoculars or telescopes. I don't think that's possible for most people. You'd need pretty sophisticated equipment to see something 180 million kilometers away. But I understand the desire to witness this for yourself rather than just hearing about it secondhand. David from the North Side sent a thoughtful message. He says regardless of what this object turns out to be, the fact that it's challenged our understanding means we're about to learn something new. Either about space or about our own capabilities or about life beyond Earth. And learning new things is good, even if it's scary. I appreciate that perspective, David. Growth often comes with discomfort. Maybe this is one of those moments where humanity collectively learns something that expands our horizons. It's 6:37. Sophie is monitoring for any new official statements. NASA hasn't released anything beyond the press conference. The ESA updated their website with technical data about the object's albedo and estimated size. It's approximately 400 meters in diameter, which is fairly large but not enormous. For reference, the asteroid that famously killed the dinosaurs was about 10 kilometers in diameter, so this is much smaller than that. Even if it were to hit Earth, which NASA says it won't, it wouldn't be an extinction-level event. That's somewhat reassuring. Whatever this is, it's not big enough to end civilization, even in the worst-case scenario. A physics professor from MIT just posted a thread breaking down the numbers. Based on the object's current trajectory and velocity, if it were to suddenly change course and head directly toward Earth, which there's no indication it would, we have approximately 3 months before it arrived. 3 months. That seems like enough time to do something. Launch countermeasures, evacuate people, I don't know. But it's not imminent danger. Of course, this is all hypothetical. The object isn't heading toward Earth, but people's minds go to worst-case scenarios when they're scared. It's 6:54. I should do a weather update. Tonight will be clear and cool, dropping into the low 50s. Tomorrow will be sunny with highs in the mid-70s. Conditions are good for observing the night sky if you're so inclined. Weekend weather looks excellent, perfect for outdoor activities. Assuming outdoor activities still feel appealing given everything else that's happening. Sophie just showed me something that made me laugh despite everything. Someone created a meme about the object. It's a picture of 2020 coming back for revenge. I know it's silly, but sometimes humor helps. Social media is filled with memes now. It's how people cope with stress. Make jokes about the thing that scares you, and maybe it becomes less scary. I'm seeing everything from alien invasion jokes to end times predictions to sarcastic comments about this being the perfect end to a terrible decade. The variety of responses is fascinating. Some people are terrified. Some are excited. Some are making jokes. Some are trying to profit by selling emergency supplies. Humanity in all its complexity is on display. It's 7:12. I've been on the air for over 8 hours now. My voice is getting tired. Sophie is suggesting I take a longer break. Let someone else cover for a while. But I don't want to step away. This feels like an important moment. Like I should be here bearing witness and helping people process whatever is happening. Sophie says I'll be more useful if I'm rested. She's probably right. I'm going to take a 30-minute break. We have a colleague who can cover. When I come back, hopefully there will be more information to share. Stay tuned to Dystopia FM. We're staying on top of this situation. We'll be right back. It's 7:48, and I'm back. I stepped away for half an hour, and in that time, things have continued to develop. NASA released additional technical data about the object. They've published its exact coordinates, velocity vector, and some preliminary spectroscopic analysis. Scientists around the world are now digging into this data. Amateur astronomers have started posting their own observations. People with backyard telescopes are trying to capture images. Most of what I'm seeing is pretty grainy and unclear, but it confirms that the object is real and visible to anyone with the right equipment pointed in the right direction. Sophie found an interesting analysis from an astronomer in Australia. She's looked at the spectroscopic data, and she says the object's surface appears to have a reflective quality that's inconsistent with known asteroid or comet composition. She's describing it as unusually smooth, based on how it reflects light. Smooth surfaces don't typically occur naturally in space. Space is violent. Objects get pitted and scarred from impacts. A smooth surface suggests either the object is very young and hasn't been through much, or it's been manufactured. It's 8:03. I'm reading updates from various space agencies. Japan's JAXA has confirmed they're tracking the object. China's space agency has issued a statement saying they're coordinating observations with international partners. Even private space companies are getting involved. SpaceX announced they're pointing some of their resources towards studying the object. This has become a global scientific effort. Every major observatory, every space agency, everyone with relevant capabilities is focused on this one thing. That level of coordination is unprecedented. It speaks to how significant this is perceived to be. A listener named Sarah sent a message asking about her flight tomorrow. She's supposed to fly across the country for a family event. She's wondering if planes are still safe to fly. As far as I know, yes, Sarah. The FAA hasn't issued any restrictions. The object is in deep space, nowhere near flight paths. I think your flight will be fine. But I understand the anxiety. When something unknown is happening, everything feels uncertain. It's 8:21. News is coming in that some religious leaders are weighing in on the situation. A prominent pastor gave a sermon calling this a sign of the end times. A rabbi issued a statement saying it's an opportunity for humanity to come together. An imam called for calm and prayer. Different faiths are interpreting this through their own theological frameworks. That makes sense. When confronted with something beyond our understanding, we reach for the tools and traditions we have to make sense of it. Sophie is showing me reports of increased attendance at houses of worship this evening. Churches, synagogues, mosques, temples. People seeking community and spiritual guidance. That's a natural response. In times of uncertainty, we gather together. We seek comfort in familiar rituals and shared belief. It's 8:39. Traffic is light now. Most people are home. The streets are quiet. The city has an eerie quality to it. More people inside than usual for a Wednesday evening. Lights on in windows where families are gathered around televisions watching the news. I can see it from our studio window. The buildings around us are illuminated, but the streets are nearly empty. Lisa is signing off for the evening. She's saying she'll be back tomorrow morning with traffic updates. Everything is normal on the roads, she says. As normal as anything can be right now. The weather remains clear. Perfect visibility if you want to look at the stars tonight. Although I'm not sure looking at the sky is comforting right now, knowing there's something up there we don't understand. It's 8:56. Sophie just got a message from a friend who's an engineer at a defense contractor. The friend says they've been called into an emergency meeting. Apparently the government is consulting with private aerospace companies about options for response or study of the object. That suggests serious planning is happening behind the scenes. The wheels of bureaucracy and industry turning to address the situation. What kind of options are they discussing? Sending a probe, probably. Maybe diverting existing satellites to observe from different angles. Maybe preparing defensive measures just in case. I'm speculating, but it's informed speculation based on what would make sense. A message from Marcus, who lives alone. He says he's scared and doesn't know who to talk to. He's asking if he's overreacting. Marcus, you're not overreacting. This is scary. It's okay to be scared. My advice is reach out to friends or family. Don't isolate. Human connection helps. We're all processing this together, and none of us have all the answers. If you're listening and you're feeling scared or alone, please reach out to someone. Call a friend. Talk to a neighbor. We're social creatures. We need each other, especially in uncertain times. It's 9:14. I'm checking various news sources. The coverage has shifted somewhat. Earlier, it was all about what we know about the object. Now it's more about how people are responding to the news. Stories about store shelves being cleared. Interviews with people who are worried or excited or confused. Discussion of the psychological impact of this kind of uncertainty. One article quotes a psychologist saying that humans are actually pretty good at dealing with known threats. We can prepare and plan. But unknown threats, where we don't know what we're facing or what to do about it, that's much harder psychologically. That resonates with me. I don't feel like I'm in immediate danger. But not knowing what this is, or what it means, creates a background anxiety that's exhausting. Sophie is monitoring government websites. The Department of Homeland Security issued a statement saying they're coordinating with NASA and other agencies. They're assuring the public that there's no security threat, but they're monitoring closely. The State Department released a statement about international cooperation. They're saying this situation demonstrates the importance of global scientific collaboration. These feel like careful, measured statements designed to project calm and competence. I appreciate that they're trying to prevent panic. I just wish they had more substantive information to share. It's 9:32. The governor of our state just gave a brief press conference. She said she's been in contact with federal officials. She's saying our state is prepared to support any response efforts that might be needed. She's urging citizens to stay calm and follow official guidance. She took a few questions. Someone asked if schools will remain open tomorrow. She said yes, as of right now, there's no reason to close schools. She encouraged parents to make their own decisions based on their comfort level. That's probably wise. Give people agency to make choices that feel right for them. Another reporter asked if the National Guard is being activated. She said no, there's no emergency that requires Guard deployment. But she noted that the Guard is always ready to assist if needed. Reading between the lines, I think she's preparing for possible deployment, without wanting to alarm people by saying that explicitly. It's 9:49. I'm looking at international news coverage. This story is everywhere. Every country, every language. The whole world is watching and waiting. Some countries are being more transparent than others. The European Space Agency continues to release technical data. Russia's space agency is being more tight-lipped. China is somewhere in between. But everyone is clearly taking this seriously. This isn't being dismissed as a minor curiosity. This is being treated as potentially significant. A viewer sent a link to a live stream from an amateur astronomer in Colorado. He's got his telescope trained on the object's coordinates, and he's streaming the view. It's grainy, and you have to know what you're looking for. But there's definitely something there. A small point of light moving against the star field. Thousands of people are watching this stream. Just watching a dot move across the screen. Because it's the only way they can see this thing for themselves. Human curiosity is powerful. We want to witness things firsthand. We don't just want to be told about something, we want to see it. It's 10:06. Sophie's getting sleepy. She's been here since early this morning. I'm telling her to go home, get some rest. She's resisting, but I insist. I'll be fine for a few hours. I can manage the equipment and monitoring. She's reluctant, but she's gathering her things. She's making me promise to call her if anything major develops. I promise. She's leaving. I'm alone in the studio now. Just me and the microphone and whatever is out there in space. The building is quiet. Most people left hours ago. There might be a few others working late, but it's mostly empty. I'm looking out the window at the city. Lights are still on in many buildings. People are awake, watching, waiting. It's 10:23. A message from someone who works a night shift. They're asking if I'll stay on air through the night. They appreciate having the company while they work. I think I will stay. I don't know if I could sleep anyway. Might as well be here providing whatever comfort or information I can. If you're out there working nights, or if you can't sleep, or if you're just listening because it feels better than being alone with your thoughts, I'm here. We'll get through this night together. NASA hasn't announced another press conference yet, but I imagine there will be one tomorrow. Maybe they'll have more information after a full day of analysis. The object is still 180 million kilometers away, still not on a collision course. Still mysterious. I'm wondering what tomorrow will bring. More data probably, more speculation, maybe some answers. Or maybe just more questions. It's 10:41. I'm reading scientific papers that have been hastily published online. Researchers are working overtime to analyze the available data and share their findings. One paper discusses the object's trajectory and concludes that it's definitely not following a natural orbit. The path suggests either propulsion or gravitational influences we don't understand. Another paper analyzes the composition data and notes the presence of elements in ratios that don't match any known natural formation. These are preliminary findings. They'll need peer review and confirmation. But they're adding to the picture of something that doesn't fit our existing frameworks. A message from a listener who's a science teacher. She's asking how to talk to her students about this tomorrow. What should she tell them? Tell them the truth, I'd say. Tell them scientists detected something unusual and they're working to understand it. Tell them this is how science works. We observe, we analyze, we ask questions. Tell them it's okay not to have all the answers yet. And maybe tell them that this is an exciting time to be alive. Regardless of what this object is, we're witnessing something extraordinary. It's 10:58. I'm realizing I haven't eaten in hours. There's a vending machine in the break room. I'm going to step away for just a minute to grab something. I'm back. 11:04. I got a candy bar and a bottle of water. Not exactly nutritious, but it'll keep me going. The city outside is dark now. Past 11 p.m. on a Wednesday night. Most people are asleep or trying to sleep. But online, the conversation continues. Social media never sleeps. People in different time zones are waking up to this news. The global conversation rotates as the Earth turns. I'm seeing posts from Asia, from Europe, from South America. Everyone asking the same questions. What is it? Where did it come from? What does it mean? Nobody has answers yet. We're all sitting with uncertainty. It's 11:23. Exactly 12 hours since I first mentioned the object on air. It feels like days ago. The information has evolved from a small news item to a global phenomenon. The mood has shifted from curious to concerned. The speculation has grown from casual to serious. And the object itself is still there, still moving. Still unknown. Tomorrow we'll have Dr. Martinez on the show. Maybe she'll have insights that help make sense of this. Or maybe she'll confirm that the experts are as confused as the rest of us. Either way, we'll continue. We'll keep broadcasting. We'll keep sharing what we know, because that's all we can do. Face the unknown together and hope that understanding emerges from the mystery. This is Marcus Chen on Dystopia FM. It's 11:39 on a Wednesday night that's unlike any other. Stay with us.